Wife is with AP at hotel right now. Should I show up tomorrow morning at breakfast? I know for a fact my wife is right now in bed with her AP at a fancy hotel. It's 11 p.m. where I am. Background: I discovered her affair in January. She then kept denying that the affair continued after I found out, and begs me to give her another chance. I always told her I know she is continuing to see him, but she strenuously denies and swears she has nothing to do with him anymore. I demanded separation in February, and we signed an amicable separation agreement last week, yet to be validated by the court, but even now she says she loves me and wants me to give our relationship another chance. I told her I don't believe her sincerity, that she lied to me way too many times, and I can't trust her anymore. Yesterday she told me she needed to unplug and would go with a female friend of hers at a hotel for one night. I know this is a lie and that she's her AP at this exact moment. I know which hotel she's staying at, and it's not the one she said she would go to. I am very tempted to head over to the hotel tomorrow morning to have breakfast there, only to see the two of them show up nice and chilled after their morning. Should I see them, and should they see me, I would simply wave at them, smile, and continue sipping my orange juice, while going back to reading the morning papers. One serious side of me tells me I'm being childish and should just move on. Another childish side of me thinks that, after all this suffering and agony, I should not deny myself this little coup de theater and enjoy the amusing sight of the deer caught in the headlights. What would you do if you were me? I'll go to sleep now, and in 8 hours we'll check if there are any replies. Edit: prevailing consensus is I should go for it. So be it. I'll head to the hotel in a cab. I first need to drop the kids in school, kiss them on their foreheads, and wish them a good day the way a good dad does. So I won't be able to be at the breakfast table very soon. Hopefully they are not breakfast early birds. But the real question is, will they order room service? All variables considered, I estimate a 40 to 50% probability that I will see them. So yeah, let fate decide how this goes. I'm not an experienced poster. Is it better for me to post an update later today as an edit to this post, or should I start a new post? Update. So this morning when I woke up I wrote that I would head over to the hotel, and I gave myself a 40 to 50% probability that things would pan out as planned. My big question mark was whether they would take room service. I wrote let fate decide how this goes. Turns out fate played this out in a weird and sort of interesting way. I dropped off the kids at school and managed to reach the hotel at 8:15. Room pretty much empty, so I chose an ideal spot, with a view on the entrance and table placed right between the two big rooms that comprise all the interior seating. Perfect view of outside seating as well. I brought along a big wide newspaper and plugged a hole in the center, so that when the two would show up I would put the newspaper in front of my face, and would still be able to see where they would sit. Took my Pano chocolate for of them, actually, a succulent chocolate muffin and a slice of banana cake. Orange juice as promised, and cappuccino de rigueur. I truly felt like a cop in a Hollywood movie first time I ever did this. Checked wife's WhatsApp to see the last seen time. Yes, she's awake. Of course she's awake, dude. They're just wait patiently. Long story short, I waited 245 hours. Average heart rate 160. Had to go take at a certain point, but no way I was going to leave my guard post. At 11 breakfast time ended and the two didn't show up. What a bummer. Apparently they did opt for room service after all. Not my lucky day, I guess. Or maybe I got it all wrong and she really is with her female friend at that other hotel. Now doubt inevitably starts to creep in. So I go take my overdue, put the carved out newspaper under my arm and despondently head for the exit, without forgetting to pay the equivalent of $40 for my luxurious breakfast. But wait. I did have a plan B. Before leaving my house this morning I picked up wife's passport. So I headed to reception and told the guy that I was asked by Mr. Last name of AP to bring him this passport I have here in my hand. Asked him to please look him up. The guy fumbles for some time, asks me AP's first name, which luckily I know, but still no joy. Just when I was about to tell him maybe it's under another name and was about to give him my wife's last name, reception guy tells me, "Oh, they're leaving right now, see," and points right behind me. I turn around and lo and behold, there's my wife standing at the exit, just 5 meters from me. She's alone though, and waiting for the valet to bring her car over. She's looking away. I wonder if she saw me, damn. I'm so close, and I was even talking out loud to the receptionist a moment ago. But she keeps looking in another direction. I look at her. I want to vomit. Car arrives. She leaves. I had a grand total of like 2 seconds to decide whether to say hi to her and see her reaction. AP wasn't there though. Alas, no coup de theater. I stayed silent. I told myself there's time to tell her later today. Now I was just curious to see her behavior once we both got back home. Just in case you're wondering, when I got home she was all loving and hugging and told me she thought a lot about the two of us and wants to change her life radically. But I did get the final confirmation I was seeking, i.e. that all her promises that she still loves me, that she removed AP from her life, and that she wants to restart our relationship were just a big mound of stinking BS. Wife slept in a room that was under the name of AP. That's all I needed to know. I came back home, have been way colder than usual. During the past almost 4 months while we negotiated the amicable separation, we continued to live under the same roof. Didn't tell the kids yet. I guess in the depths of my agony, I was still hoping to somehow believe her when she told me she was serious about restarting. I guess deep inside maybe I was nurturing this crazy fantasy that all this is just a bad dream. And that one day I would wake up and life would go back to how it was before D-Day. And I could and would love her intensely like I did in those photographs of the past 16 years that Google Photos, this day X years ago, keeps pinging me day in and day out. Those photos that I devour while I cry alone every night in my bed in the guest room, because I suppose I enjoy suffering. I know. It's stupid. But I'm sure many of you guys know how intense pain clouds perception and sound judgment. I told wife that in 2 days we will go live in separate houses. All has already been pre-regulated in our separation agreement. Either one of us has the right to request this anytime. Tomorrow we inform the kids. A new life begins. The time has come to pull the plug in earnest. The sick tooth has been dangling lifeless in my mouth for a long time because I was afraid of the pain of pulling it out. Now is the time to extirpate it once and for all. While I was writing this, wife popped in and said she wants to talk. This will be the right moment, I think, to tell her I was standing right behind her this morning. Or maybe I should just tell her nothing, and let her wonder why I took all these big decisions all of a sudden. Not sure, really. I guess I'll just play it by ear. Yes, I know, this is the most stupid possible way of going about it, but I guess I just don't give a at this point. Story 2. Ready to leave my partner of 5 years, desperately need support. My partner, M25, and I, F23, met in high school in 2013 and started dating in 2016. We had bouts of homelessness because he wanted to live with his mother 1,500 miles away, and she was actually homeless and lied about her living arrangements, so we worked to buy Greyhound tickets, and we ended up back in our state, homeless with no vehicle. So, we moved in with his grandma who, bless her heart, has dementia that makes her pretty confrontational. I did, however, get a really good job I enjoyed. I started to let down the walls I had built crumble, and I was no longer terrified of being cheated on. First BF banged my then best friend. I made a comment about it a little bit ago on another /thread. My partner got a really good job and we had everything saved up in storage to move into an apartment when I discovered I was pregnant, 2019. I hadn't had a period in 6 to 8 months because of my eating disorder, and I honestly thought I couldn't have kids because of it, so I stupidly no longer was taking precautions. I was scared, but he was ecstatic. He asked, guilt really, as I was a CNA and worked with combative patients and some had diseases that could be transmitted such as HIV, me to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom, while he supported us, and I did. We got our own apartment, I was nesting, I was happy, I was no longer practicing my disordered eating and had gotten back to a healthy weight. We no longer fought, and our life was great. But I didn't choose surviving infidelity just for advice. I found out, 5 months pregnant, by accident, that my partner had been having an 8-month-long emotional affair with a girl he knew back in high school. Someone he hid from me, and I had no idea who she was, or that they had stayed friends the entire time. He blamed it on his mother's death, but she had suddenly passed away after he had started his affair. He blamed it on my eating disorders, but I had always struggled with one, even in high school, and he knew I had issues with them before he ever asked me out. He hid it very well. They had plans to meet up in a few months because at the time she had been out of state, but would be back soon. I was blindsided. I honestly trusted him. I had given him the space he needed to breathe, and we had a healthy relationship, something I wanted so badly. I wanted so badly to have one of those relationships where I didn't panic and worry every time he went out with his friends. We fought, I cried, I realized I was stuck, so I stayed, and he blocked her from all social media after a good 3 months of arguing and me catching him on Instagram through his secret account I never mentioned having access to. But I never got over it. He never truly apologized, just decided it wasn't worth the fighting. As time went on, he started to make comments about wanting to bang my younger sister who was about to turn 18. She did 2 days before I gave birth to our son in April 2020, and he even texted her creepily joking how she was 18 now on her birthday, and she let me know. I forgave him then, again after he gaslit me to say it was a joke and it's because we look so similar. Over the past 2 years I have endured the hurt from the betrayal, the anger at being stuck at home without a vehicle, and the anger and hurt every single time he brings up a girl he knows who he'd have with. Every single time he goes on and on about wanting to swap partners. My breaking point was Sunday. He got back home from his buddies, who they constantly talk about having foursomes or swapping partners with, and he tells me every little thing they talk about, every nude they share of their spouses, every girl he wants to bang, he tells me. He this time brought up how he'd sleep with his buddy's wife and talked about us having musical F***king, he describes it like musical chairs, except all us girls have our butts out and the guys take turns swapping partners, seriously. Again for a little bit, and within 5 minutes he asked if I could go over to my parents' house more so that he could spend a weekend there guilt-free, and knowing I wasn't going to be stuck home alone without a car with our son to care for. I cracked. TW, possible marital rape mentioned in next paragraph. I held it in, I stewed, I cried my heart out yesterday because I finally got over my stubbornness and saw what my future held. I do not deserve to be anxiety-riddled that he's going to sleep with every single woman in his life. I don't want to be 45 and find him in a long-term physical affair this time. We had a blowout argument over it last night. He tried to initiate and I was disgusted with him and myself. He doesn't take no for an answer, he usually just forces my pants off and forces himself on me, and I don't even fight it. I just tell him no, I don't want to have, and I am saying no over and over until I just give up and fake enjoying it so it ends quickly. It hurts. I was left with severe internal scarring from my emergency C-section and is very painful now. I did not want to have, and he was in the process of forcing my pants off again, so I told him why. He screamed, I screamed, he restrained me like every fight and yelled. He thanked me for ruining his guy's night after I told him I was angry because he once again told me he wanted to sleep with a girl he knows will be there and other girls who sometimes show up and they all get blackout drunk and high like every single guy's night, and how I couldn't trust him after he admits to it. He doesn't go out often because I'm home alone, and he says it makes him feel bad, and he tells me every time he rejects a party because I'm home taking care of our son so I feel guilty. He yelled it's unfair every fight is over stupid stuff, how every guy wants to have with other women, and I should be thankful he actually tells me instead of hiding it. How he works so I don't have to and he's tired of being the only income, so I don't have a room to be ungrateful when he goes out. I want to leave him. I can't do this anymore. I deserve better. I'm scared of the future, I'm scared of the heartbreak that's in store for me. He is the only friend I have. When we get along great, and he can be hilarious and super sweet. It hurts so much and I haven't even left him. I have my parents' house to go to, they promised a safe place for me and my son, until I am strong enough to get on my feet and finally go back to school and support us. Just tell me I'm making the right choice. I've spent 5 years as a couple with him. I love him, I really do. I don't have anyone else. I don't have any friends, he is the only person outside of a few family members I talk to. But I deserve better. I don't want to live my life like this anymore, I can't. I just want some support. I want to know that it's going to be okay. I want to hear about how people were able to overcome the loss of losing someone you love, and I want to hear about how life is better now. I am going to take a short break after posting. I really need to do some activities with my son. I have let him watch CoComelon far too long while I wrote this. I'll get back on in a few hours. Thank you for reading. Update. I'm getting in contact with a local domestic abuse facility that will hopefully be able to give me advice on moving forward with protecting my son from visitation. He has threatened many times I would never be able to leave with my boy, and I don't put it past him to take him for visitation once and try to run away. My mom, grandma by birth, mom by adoption, love, has been a big support for me RN. I keep wanting to back down, scared I'm going to regret this decision, but I know logically it's what is best not only for me but for my son. I might move over to abusive relationships, so when I do leave I'll have support for when I feel like running back. I'm going over this weekend to their house to talk about getting out. I'm not perfect, I have been diagnosed in the past with MDD, PTSD, and borderline PD, stemming from severe paranoia as a child. I desperately need to get into contact with a mental health organization before leaving because I am a self-harm/suicide attempt survivor, and it's crucial I have help right away.